What do you have too much of?
Oh, I love this lesson. I can't wait to share this with you. Usually I do this because it's my job, but today I really get to enjoy it. I love it. Can I tell you guys something? Something that I don't tell a lot of people? I'm not super into preaching. I'm going to take my mask off. Oh, I'm not that into it. No, it's not my favorite thing in the world. I like spending time with people. I like doing that more than I like writing sermons and doing all the talking and stuff. I do love the sound of my own voice. You can ask Allie about that. But I'm not that big into sermons. But this sermon, I like this sermon. I'm a fan of this one because when I started writing this stuff and praying about it and researching it, I was very convicted. And you might end up being the same. Let's do a little review, shall we? On all the good things we've been talking about. Refreshment 101. We are in a series talking about... Oh, come on. Play along at home. Living water. Very good. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. You better be ready for it. We're talking about living water. And not just how do I get living water, although that's an important question. It's how do I give living water? How do I share living water? And we looked at John 4, right? We looked at this story of Jesus talking with a woman that he had no business talking to. And what does he give her? He gives her living water, not just water out of a well, but the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Whoa! The Holy Spirit working in your life and around you and influencing other people. When we talk about living water, that is what we're talking about. We've also used this phrase, this new ordering of the world. Not like the wrestler guys, not New World Order. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a radical restructuring of what's important, what's valuable, who is valuable, and what we all end up doing every single day. A radical reordering of the world. And what defines this reordering of the world that Jesus is trying to bring in? The first one, truth. Radical truth. Truth that pours out and enlightens people. Truth in love, hopefully. The second thing, or I guess the next few things, JPRF. Y'all ready for a quiz? J. Justice. P. Provision. Oh, this is music to my ears. R. Restoration, and the easy one, F. F is for freedom, y'all. Justice, provision, restoration, freedom. Jesus references Isaiah 58, and he says, if you want to be part of the kingdom I'm creating, this is what is going to be present in your life. Justice, provision, restoration, freedom, JPRF. Not a very good acronym, but it works for us. The last thing that defines this reordering of the world is a kingdom vision. And that's what we're working on as well. We're trying to see not just church, but kingdom. We can do this building up the church thing all we want, but it doesn't matter if we don't build up the kingdom as well. Now, last week, we're almost done, Jim talked about refreshing your brother, and he gave us a veritable smorgasbord of delicious scriptures that I hope you went back and studied, because there's tons of ways to refresh yourself and to refresh one another. Some big things I picked up. Fellowship. We got to be together. If you're at home, are you finding ways during the week to see other brothers and sisters? Are you calling them on the phone? Me and some brothers this morning did a very stupid thing. We jumped into the Columbia River at 6 in the morning. And you know what? It was fellowship. It was a great memory. I had a sausage burrito. It's not sitting great with me. But I spent some good time with my brothers. We had some fellowship this morning. The second thing he mentioned is hospitality. And we're going to talk about hospitality today. And then the last one is vulnerability. Am I being real about my life? We can spend all kinds of time together, but if we're not being deep and real and honest, then what is the point? Am I right? Or is Jim right? Because it was Jim's sermon. So thank you, Jim. Today we are talking about refreshing our neighbor. Now, who is my neighbor? Yes, that is the right answer. Oh, I love my wife. Who is my neighbor? Yes. Now, for our purposes, yes, anyone can be your neighbor. I want you to be thinking about the people that you see every week. You're literally your physical neighbors, unless you live like in Findlay or whatever, like middle of nowhere. Who do you work with? Who's in your family? Who do you see at the grocery store? Is there a barista who knows your name? These are your neighbors that I want you to be thinking about as we tell these stories. Something I like to do when we read these Bible stories, I like putting people that I know's faces on characters. And so when I see the Samaritan woman, I don't think about the Samaritan woman. I think about maybe a girl that I met in college. that I shared my faith with. Maybe I don't think about Peter weeping bitterly after he betrayed Jesus. Maybe I put my own face on Peter's. I want you to be putting people's faces on Bible story people today. There's a word. I've been given us a lot of words and phrases like justice, provision, restoration, freedom, new world order, blah, 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 blah. One more word, is that okay? That's a very good word. It's my new favorite word. It's abundance. Today we're talking about abundance. And my definition of abundance here is that there is enough for everyone. Do you believe that that statement is true? That's the question you're going to have to ask yourself today. Do I earnestly believe that there is enough for everyone? Because that is the world order that Jesus is trying to bring in. In the kingdom, there is enough for everyone. This plays out in a few different ways. First off, our favorite, JPRF. Is there enough justice for everyone to get equal justice in our world? I would say no, currently, but that's what we're striving for. Provision. Is there enough stuff for everyone? Is there enough food, housing, etc. for everyone to live, comfortably? Is there enough, restoration for everyone? Enough spiritual restoration? Is there enough grace? Is there enough spirit for everyone? Is there enough freedom for everyone? These are the questions we need to be asking about the world that we live in. Because if I look around and I go, there's plenty of food for me, but there doesn't seem to be enough for him. There's enough medication for those people, but not those people. These people are stuck in sin, but those folks aren't. These people are getting justice, but these people aren't. That shows to me a disordering of the world. But I really believe that Jesus is preaching a gospel of abundance. That everyone can have justice, everyone can have enough stuff to need to live, and everyone can find freedom. The question I have to ask myself, remember that word we used, roadblocks? The question I have to ask is not, how are they roadblocked? Why aren't they getting justice, provision, restoration, freedom? The question is, why am I roadblocked? Why am I not providing it for them? That's not a very fun question, is it? That's not a comfortable question, but it's one that I've been forced to ask myself. Do I believe that there is enough for everyone? Because honestly, I meet people and I go, oh man, there's just no way. There's no way that person will ever study the Bible. There's no way that person will ever come to a relationship with God. And you know what's funny? The people I think that the most about are my neighbors. It's not strangers. You meet a stranger, it's like a fun mystery, right? You're like, ooh, what could happen with this person? It's like Ruben's soul patch. I didn't know it was there, and then he pulled down the mask, and I was like, what a fun surprise for all of us. Strangers are fun. Your neighbors, maybe not so much. Because Max next door, well, he mows his lawn at 6 in the morning, like every other day. Maybe there isn't enough freedom for him. That woman at the grocery store always gives me a sour look. She always seems to be in a bad mood when she rings up my groceries. I'm not sure if there's enough restoration for her. I know I've given this guy some Cliff Bars who stands on the side of the road and is begging. I've given him food like 5 or 6 times and he's still there. Maybe there just isn't enough hope for him. The people that I see often are the ones that don't get the abundance mindset. I show them a scarcity mindset. I don't know, maybe there isn't enough. Maybe I need to hold on to some for myself, because what if I give it all away? There won't be anything left for me, and I'm so important. Is there enough for everyone? We're going to look at 2 stories, and they're similar stories, but they're different. And the first one's more specific. It's in Luke 19. You can turn over there if you want to. Can you read that? I'm doing a font check of like, how big is font? Jamie has young, healthy eyes. She's good to go. The younger folks are giving me thumbs up. Oh, I'm sorry, Bryce. Okay, next time, even better. We'll push forward. That's why you need to be bringing your Bible on Sundays. Where'd I put my water bottle? You're like, no worries, I got my phone. Not the same, you cheated. Luke 19, verse 1. We're going to look at somebody who gets refreshed and then immediately does something about it. And in verse 1, Jesus passed through Jericho, ever heard of it, and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a tax collector and was wealthy. Sounds nice. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. This is part one of the story. And man, is it a good story. But first, we got to do some context corner. We got to locate ourselves in Jesus' ministry, shall we? It says Jesus is entering Jericho. You might have noticed that we're in Luke chapter 19, pretty late in the gospel story. Jesus is on his way to a place called Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, a few things are going to happen to him. He's going to be arrested. He's going to be put onto an unfair trial. And he's going to be killed for being an enemy of the state. 3 days later, he will get back up out of his grave and give us hope. Sound good? That hasn't happened yet. People are building up courage to follow Jesus at this point. The movement is getting bigger. Jesus is starting to get a little dangerous in the eyes of the state. That's where we are. So he meets this guy named Zacchaeus, and Zacchaeus is a chief tax collector. Who here likes tax collectors? Get out of here. No, you don't. No one likes tax collectors, especially first century Jews. Because who do you think Rome hired to collect the taxes? Well, it wasn't other Romans. It was fellow Jews. So Zacchaeus is not just, okay, he's wealthy and he's short and he's got a few things going for him, but he is hated by his people. Because he represents not just Rome, but the ultimate betrayal. You chose them over us? We're your people. I grew up with you, and now you're taking my money? Ugh, what an insult. Zacchaeus probably had 0 friends. Even the other tax collectors were competitive, right? It'd be like, who can raise more taxes? See, the thing is, Rome would charge their tax. But in order to make money as a tax collector, you had to take a little slice off the top. So Rome would say, hey, taxes are 50% this month. So what would Zacchaeus take? Bad news, guys. Rome said 60%. Awkward. Give it over. In fact, there are scholars who think that during Jesus' lifetime, Rome's taxes in Judea went up to 90%. I'm going to say that again so you can be properly shocked. Rome's taxes went up to 90%. You think you have it bad. Get out of here. 90%. And that's what they saw when they saw Zacchaeus. Hey, it's all 90% with his stubby little legs. They hated Zacchaeus because he was a chief tax collector. But what does Zacchaeus do? He says, I got to see this Jesus guy. I've heard a few good things. And so what does he do? He dishonors himself. He humiliates himself by running. First century Hebrew men did not run. He humiliates himself further by climbing a tree. Could you imagine a greater horror? Well, in this society, no. For us, it's like, I don't know, I climbed a tree like a couple days ago. I think. Yeah, a couple days ago. I was trying to get something out. It was a disc golf disc. But for these guys, an adult man didn't run. An adult man who was wealthy and respectable did not climb trees. Zacchaeus says, I want to see Jesus so bad, I will humiliate myself to make it happen. Have you had an experience with Jesus quite like that? Where you were like, I'll do anything. I got to know this guy. I'll humiliate myself. I'll jump into the Columbia River at 6 a.m. if I have to. This is an incredible interaction. Because what I see is a word over and over and over again in this story. You'll never guess what it is. I see abundance. I see abundance thinking happening over and over and over again. Zacchaeus goes, man, there's not enough hospitality. There's not enough respect. There's not enough hope. There's not enough of anything for me, a tax collector, an enemy of my people. But in Jesus, he finds out that there's enough even for him. When do you think the last time was that Zacchaeus got invited over for dinner at somebody's house? And now Jesus is knocking down his door. He says, I'm inviting myself over for dinner at your house. I need to go to your house. I must see you. I must come over. Zacchaeus is like, oh my gosh, I haven't vacuumed. No, he says, come on in. He welcomes him gladly. The second someone has enough time for Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus makes enough time for Jesus. That's what happens to us when we study the Bible, when we become Christians. We find out that there is enough time, there is enough grace, there is enough hospitality, there is enough living water for me, despite all my jacked up stuff going on, despite the fact that I, too, am a tax collector. There's so much refreshment in this story. I'm refreshed by Zacchaeus' humiliation. I know that sounds weird, but what a refreshing thing. Imagine if, like, the politicians and heads of state and the Elon Musks and Jeff Bezoses of the world just got a little goofy, just decided to humiliate themselves a little bit. Wouldn't that be endearing? People would go, whoa, is that the tax collector? What's he doing to that tree? I mean, we already didn't like him, but that's kind of funny. That's kind of refreshing to see something new and different out of this guy. I find it refreshing that Jesus sees and involves Zacchaeus. Of course he sees him. He's in a tree, but it's just as easy to pass over him. The short guy, he's crazy, clearly, because he's hanging out in this tree. Jesus sees Zacchaeus. He doesn't just walk on by and go to somebody more important or more beloved. He sees him, and he involves himself in Zacchaeus' life. He says, hey, Zacchaeus, I'm going this way. You're coming along for the journey. You are now involved. We are involved with each other. And I'm refreshed by the fact that Zacchaeus responds gladly. It says he came down at once, and he welcomed him gladly. Parents, can you imagine if everything you asked your kids, they did it at once and they welcomed it gladly? Oh, wouldn't that be refreshing? Wouldn't that feel nice if things happened at once and gladly? Oh, that's refreshing. But it makes me wonder, it makes me wonder, what did Zacchaeus see in Jesus? What did he experience? I think he experienced abundance. For the first time maybe in years, someone had enough time for him. That is an incredible gift that we can give people. And I got to ask, have you approached Jesus in this way? Do you know him like this? Have you humiliated yourself in order to get some face time with him? Because I promise you, you will know what refreshment feels like. And if you know what refreshment feels like, if you've been there, if you've experienced it, what did it make you do? If you're like, oh, I was so refreshed, and then I watched that new Star Wars show. It was awesome. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, no, I was super refreshed by Jesus. It was incredible. I've never experienced that in my life. Didn't end up at church for the next couple months, though. That doesn't seem like real refreshment. No, I was refreshed by Jesus, and I had to invite my entire neighborhood to come see what I saw. Just like that Samaritan woman in John 4. What does your refreshment cause you to do? For me, when I was young, I got baptized when I was a teenager. I was all full of youthful vigor or whatever, right? I was just a nerd about Jesus. I was like, you got to come to my church. You got to get baptized. You got to do this. I was overjoyed. I was overflowing with living water to give people. But then something happened to me. I don't know. I think I got told no too many times. People going, oh, no. It's not no's. It's people going, yeah, no, yeah, church, yeah. And then you never see them again. You get that enough times and you go, maybe there isn't enough for everybody. Maybe I should just keep it to myself. Something happens to us over time. I got this new wine, this new living water that I'm experiencing right now. I've been doing some different study into the scripture. I've been listening to some good podcasts. I've been thinking a lot about my soul, which is a weird thing to do. And I can't help but tell people about it. I'll bust into the kitchen. I'm like, Allie, this really cool thing. I just found out this thing about Isaac's eyes. And she's like, oh, okay. And I usually have to backtrack and do context. But it flows out of me. And I desperately want that for every believer. I want all of us to have stuff that we're so excited to share with people. I got this living water. I got this mustard seed. I found my lost coin. I have new wine and a new wineskin. I got to tell somebody. Are you feeling that this afternoon? Is there enough for everybody? Is there enough gospel for you to share it? Or do you got to keep it to yourself? I think that's a pretty easy question to answer. Is there enough grace for everybody? And I'm not asking that in an intellectual sense, because everyone will go, yes, there's enough grace for everybody. But if there's enough grace for everybody, do you show grace to everybody? Yoinks! Is there enough JPRF, justice, provision, restoration, freedom for everybody? Or when I see injustice, when I see people not being provided for, when I see a lack of restoration and freedom, do I go, tough, bummer? Is there enough Jesus for everybody? In his life, there clearly was. There was enough for anybody who wanted to follow him. But is there enough Jesus in my life to share with other people? Let's keep going. I love this story. I got a soft spot for Zacchaeus, man. In verse 7, it says, all the people saw this and began to mutter. Everyone loves a mutterer. He has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I've cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save what was lost. Whew! Big statement, right? I've said some boastful things in my time, like, I'm going to climb Candy Mountain in 20 minutes, or I'm going to eat that whole burrito, and I always suffer for it. Always. Zacchaeus makes a bold claim here. He says, I'm giving away half my possessions right now. There goes half my net worth. And if I've cheated anybody out of anything, I'll pay them back 4 times the amount. You know the job description of a tax collector, right? It's cheating people out of things. It's taking taxes that they aren't supposed to pay so you can line your pockets. Zacchaeus says, I'm about to be very, very poor in the next 45 minutes. He says, I'm giving it all away because I know what kind of person I am, and yet there was enough for me. So clearly there can be enough for everybody. Wow. Okay, but how did he do it? Because, if people were coming in lines twice, trying to get double payback, it doesn't really make sense. And then his reputation would be tarnished, and he'd probably lose his job. What's that word that we keep coming back to? It's roadblocks. I can read this story, and I can go, hey, I should do that too. But then I go, but how? How would that actually work? What are the logistics of giving away half my possessions? I'd have to do a whole appraisal of my total net worth, and I'd have to cut that in half and figure out how to... We get so caught up with the logistics that we don't serve anybody. Okay, but how would it work? What about my reputation? People don't like me. I'm not sociable. I'm a tax collector. No one's ever going to want to take money from me. First off, people will take money from anybody. Second, why are you so worried about your reputation more than you care about the people? What if I lose everything? Well, for Zacchaeus, it seems like he's consigned himself to that. He's like, okay, I'm probably losing everything just by saying this. But he doesn't seem to care. He has an abundance mindset. And sometimes we see people do stuff like this. You see people on TV going, I'm giving away half of my wealth to this nation that suffered a tragedy, or you'll see that kind of stuff, and you always question the motives, right? You go, oh, he's showing off, isn't he? Oh, he's flexing. I've heard of that from the kids. That can't be a truly humble, contrite person. No way. Or maybe you think, oh, they won't actually follow through. Everyone says stuff like that. They never actually do it. They always keep it to themselves. Maybe you think, oh, they're crazy. That's a crazy person. Which you might think about Zacchaeus. No, these roadblocks, that's not what's going on here. It's an abundance mindset. Zacchaeus goes, there was enough for me, so there is enough for everybody. Because if Jesus wants to hang out with me, then he's definitely good enough to hang out with everybody. If he's willing to go to me in my sin, in my betrayal of my people, no problem having other people come into it. And what does it lead to? JPRF. I'm going to keep talking about it until we see it. This is a new sense of justice. The people are being cheated out of their taxes. Zacchaeus goes, I can solve that. I can offer justice in this situation. I can give the money back. How about provision, physically, financially providing for the people? There's a restoration of his reputation amongst the people. Suddenly, everyone loves Zacchaeus all of a sudden, right? Hey, Zacchaeus is giving away free money. Get into the town square. There's a restoration of relationships. And of course, there's financial freedom for these people who are oppressed at every single turn. An abundance mindset leads to justice, provision, restoration, and freedom. But what about, okay, but how are we going to, well, what if no. Stop asking questions, guys. It's abundance. There is enough for everyone, and there will be enough left over for you when the time is right? What if I give away all my stuff? What if I try to feed the entire singles ministry? I'll be out of food. It sounds crazy when you put it that way, right? Of course there'll be enough. But these are the thoughts and the fears that dominate our lives. I literally had a conversation with somebody once. They were like, well, I want to be in some Bible studies, but if I'm in too many Bible studies, I won't have enough time for my own spirituality. I was like, dude, that would be a great problem. Come on, man. Like, you can't win. Too few, too many. Wouldn't you want to find out what too much feels like? What do you have too much of? I think you'll be okay. Wouldn't it feel good to have too much of something? Matthew 9. Let's keep moving. A similar but a different story. This one's about a guy named... You're not going to believe this. It's Matthew, also known as Levi. I wonder if he made himself look better in the story. I always think that with the gospel writers. Because John calls himself the disciple who Jesus loved, which, come on, man. Luke couldn't. Luke wasn't there. But maybe Matthew was like, I'm going to shave around some details. Matthew 9, I'm going to stop. Matthew 9, verse 9. As Jesus went on from there, wherever that was, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at a tax collector's booth. Follow me, he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and the sinners? On hearing this, Jesus said, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but, there's that word again, sinners. A similar story, but it's a little bit different. And the ways in which it's different warm my heart. Jesus says, hey, come follow me. And Matthew says, great, I'm into it, sounds great. And then Jesus says, guess who's coming to dinner? The filth of your town. The tax collectors and the sinners, the prostitutes, the homeless. They're all going to be in your house. I hope you made enough pita. Does that stress you out? Does that make you struggle at all? Hey, Allie and I are going to come over for dinner tonight. Oh, and we just rounded up 20 to 30 homeless people in the Tri-Cities area. They're going to be there as well. You made a lot of chili, right? Does that stress you out to think about everybody being invited? I heard this great question in a podcast recently. The guy said, what would you do if your entire community came to church one Sunday? Maybe you live in a 300,000 person community like the Tri-Cities. We just had a big field or something. You'd be excited about that, right? And he goes, no, you wouldn't be excited about that. You'd freak out. What are we going to do for them? How are we going to take care of them all? How are they all going to hear? What are we going to do? Oh, but those people came, and they're sitting in the front row. You don't want everyone to show up to church. And so we can say it, but do we actually believe it? Oh, I wish everyone knew Jesus. Well, if everyone knew Jesus, we wouldn't fit in this room. If everyone knew Jesus, we'd have like 16 campuses, 200 campuses all over the place. There would be too much, and that is a great problem. If I really want there to be enough for everybody, I got to get cool with everybody coming over. Oh, but tax collectors and sinners, they don't take off their shoes. They don't wash their hands. Come on, man. Why do they have to show up? I wonder if Matthew struggled with that. But then again, there's this abundant mindset. This other mindset that says, yeah, it'll work out. I saw him with the fish and the loaves earlier. He can totally handle it. Yeah, I know he's going through that right now. I know he's in this program. I know he's struggling with this. No worries. There's enough for everybody. We'll figure it out. Gosh, I wish I had that mindset. I wish that when new people came into my life, I wouldn't freak out about logistics and reputation, and what if I lose it all? I wish I could just scratch it all out and say, nope, abundance, there's plenty, I'm good. I'm going to enjoy this. Like what apparently Matthew did. But there's two mindsets, right? There's an abundance mindset that Matthew and Jesus have, but then there's this other mindset. There's this scarcity mindset, where the Pharisees go, got more than you bargained there before there, eh, Matthew? The tax collectors and the sinners came over. Awkward. Am I a Pharisee or am I a tax collector? This is a new world order. This society, you want to be a Pharisee. You don't want to be a tax collector. But where does Jesus hang out? He says, where are the tax collectors at? I'm making naan. Where are the tax collectors? Where are the sinners? These are the people that I want to be with because there's plenty for them. The question is, have I really been an outcast? Have I actually been in this camp of tax collectors and sinners? Because if I've been there, I'm going to have a heart for those people. But if I've never been on the outside looking in, why should I care about them? Why should I care about that family that's struggling? Why should I care about this person who can't provide for themselves? That person who's struggling with mental health? Why should I care about those people? I don't struggle with that. It's not my problem. Somebody else will take care of them. That's a Pharisee scarcity mindset. Guilty. Because I look at people that don't look like me, don't sound like me, don't talk like me, don't read like me, and I go, there's probably somebody for them. But me, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to help? How am I supposed to have enough time for them? It's a scarcity mindset. And where do I end up? I go, okay, what are the logistics? How are we going to do it? And listen, logistics people, I love you guys. You like structure and I don't, but you actually get things done. But we can get so caught up in logistics, man. We can get so caught up. Did everybody get a t-shirt? Are there enough communion cups for everyone? There's plenty for everyone, guys. What about my reputation? People don't like me. Or people do like me and I don't want to freak them out so much with all this Jesus stuff. What if I lose everything? Well, you can't take it with you. Where else are you going to put it? If you had it all, where would you put it all? There's enough for everybody. And if you've experienced it, you will have no trouble sharing it. That's what I really like. That's what refreshes me about Zacchaeus and Matthew. It says at once. The second they experienced it, they're like, cool, yeah, have them come in through the back. Awesome. I'll lay out some extra tables. No problem. Half my wealth, it's yours. And in fact, if I've cheated anybody else, throw it away. At once. Because they experienced it. For the first time in a long time, they got to be on the inside. They got welcomed to the table by Jesus. And this might blow your mind. Jesus isn't here. So someone else is going to have to invite him to the table. Someone else is going to have to show hospitality. Someone else is going to have to lovingly involve themselves in their lives so that they can experience it. Because guess what they'll do? They'll share it. It's the wackiest thing, guys. It's crazy. You experience refreshment in your own life and you give it to somebody else and then you kind of watch them. You're like, okay, now what? Now what's going to happen? And then they invite 15 people to church and you're like, we don't have enough room for everybody. Logistics. And then you have to start the cycle all over again. If you've experienced it, you will have no trouble sharing it. And I don't say this to scare anyone, but if you're having trouble sharing it, have you experienced it recently? I had a dull, boring, gray, sepia-toned patch in my faith not that long ago, where I was like, what is the point of all this? There's so much stuff to do. There's so many logistics. I have so many contacts. Why am I doing all of this stuff? And it got bland and it got boring, and I hadn't experienced living water in a little while. That happens. We've been in the desert. We were in the desert for 3 months. The desert happens in our faith. That's okay. But you've got to get back to that experience. You've got to get back to the source, to the living water that sustains us. Have you had an interaction with the Holy Spirit recently? I know that's a very mystical, kind of crazy-sounding question, but it doesn't have to look like a burning bush. It could be a lot of things. Have you read something in Scripture recently that couldn't get out of your brain for days? Have you had a prayer experience recently that you just had to tell somebody about? Like, man, I prayed this week and it was so good. Have you jumped into Colombia with some other friends and lived to tell the tale? Have you experienced Spirit recently? Because if you have, you'll have no trouble sharing it. And if you're having trouble sharing it, your homework, go find it. Go to the top of Candy, go jump in the river, go do what you got to do to find Spirit, because there's enough for you. Let's wrap this baby up. How do we refresh our neighbor? How do we take care of them? How do we make sure that there's enough living water for our neighbor? Well, the first thing is we shamelessly pursue Jesus no matter the cost. This one's just for you. Don't worry about your neighbor quite yet. Are you Zacchaeus? Are you stuck in a tree like Whitney's cat? Have you shamelessly humiliated yourself pursuing Jesus no matter the cost? Or are you still hanging on to some stuff? Are you going, yeah, I gave up half of my possessions, and that was it? The other half, well, I'm going to hang on to that. Need a little nested. Have you shamelessly pursued Jesus? The second thing you do is you develop an abundance mindset. You earnestly believe in your heart that there is more than enough for everybody. There is enough for everyone. You might need to repeat that. You might need to put it on a sticky note and put it in your car. And every time you drive by somebody who honked at you and flipped you off, you go, there's enough for them, there's enough for them, there's enough for them, there's enough for them. You might need to do it. Do you earnestly believe it? Force yourself to believe it, because it's true. There is enough. The last thing, this is the really tricky one. Practice radical hospitality. Do not invite me over. I'm a great dinner guest. I'm easy. I take off my shoes. I ask if I can help clean up. I'm a nice dinner guest. Go get somebody who is not a nice dinner guest. Have them over. Right? For us, probably somebody who doesn't like dogs. Would that qualify? I don't know. Who's a dinner guest that you can have over that will make you uncomfortable the entire time? Where you're like, please use a fork, please use a fork, please use a fork, please use a fork. Not the small fork, the big fork. I'm kidding. No bouncers. What I love about Matthew's story is that there's no bouncer at his house. There's no one who goes like, how much did you sin? Sorry, buddy. Around the back, take the takeout meal. There's no bouncers who go, you collected how many taxes? You did what? As Jesus radically includes himself, involves himself in people's lives, people like Matthew and Zacchaeus do the same thing. They go, how much do you need? Here we go. There you go. I'm involving myself. They do it without judgment. They do it without shame. They do it without bouncing the people that are just too much for them. I love that. I love that idea, to close out here, of a full home. Imagine Matthew's house. Not to say that it was the nicest house in the world that had many rooms or whatever, but it was probably packed to the gills. It was all kinds of people. Weird people, ugly people, smelly people, dirty people. It was probably the greatest dinner that any of them had ever had. They're probably like, this is amazing, you made lamb. I love lamb. Can you imagine what your house could look like with all these people in it? And they're all experiencing it. And they're going, man, I got to host my own dinner party. Oh, man, I got to tell my friend down the street about this thing they do over at the Lamoth's house. I know the Brays will do it. Goodness gracious. Plenty of food, plenty of house, yo. We can do this. How does it start? It's dinner. It's nachos. It's Taco Tuesday, whatever it is. Something that Allie and I have challenged ourselves to do. Start having friends over. We said, all right, I can make steak. I can make burgers. I can make spaghetti. I can make something and have you over. And it's enlightening. It's challenging. But man, is it worth it, because there is enough for everyone. Have an abundant mindset. Let's be a church that knows for a fact that there is more than enough for everyone and does everything in our power to give it to them. Grace and peace to you.